Hello everybody, True here, back with another video, and this time it is the best games of 2017. So before we get into it, just a few quick ground rules. This is games that have come out on Xbox. They have to be games that I have actually played as well. And what do I deem is the best? What is the best? Well, it's subjective, isn't it? But what I'm classing the best is the games that have stuck in my memory, that I really enjoyed, that when I'd finished them, regardless if they took an hour to finish or whether they took 100 hours to finish, I put my pad down and thought, yeah, I really enjoyed that. That's a really good game, and I'll probably come back and play that at a later date as well, which is very rare in this day and age, because I very rarely revisit games nowadays, which is a shame really, because there is a lot of good games out there. But these are games that I will definitely revisit at some point, and definitely keep in my library for a long time. So they may not be the most technical prowess games, they may not be the games I actually gave the highest marks during the last 12 months, but they're just the games that stuck in my memory, and I thought, yeah, they really were that enjoyable. Now, as probably a lot of you do know who follow me closely, I don't play a lot of mainstream games, or what are generally considered mainstream games. I tend to focus more on the indie games. So my list is probably going to be one of the more unique and bizarre lists out there. And in fact, one of my games in the top 10 I've actually seen in some other people's lists of worst game of the year. But that's what opinions are, aren't they? Opinions are absolutely brilliant. One person's manure is another person's gold. Do you know what I mean? But here we go anyway. Here are the top 10 games I felt were the best and enjoyed the most during 2017. Skyrim Unplugged's The Adventures on Clover Island is probably a game nobody thought would appear on anybody's top 10 list, but I really enjoyed it, and this is my list, so, you know, there you go. So, yeah, it's a 3D platforming adventure for a genre that saw quite a resurgence in 2017, especially with the likes of like Yooka-Laylee and Super Lucky's Tale also appearing on Xbox. This was my favourite of the lot. It just pushed all the buttons. It was a nice introduction to some new characters. The game world was vibrant. There was 3 major worlds plus a hub world. Could have done with being fleshed out to another couple of worlds to add a bit more longevity to the game, because it is a very quick completion of about 4 or so hours, maybe a bit longer if you go for all the jewels and collectibles in each of the zones. Introduced a nice comedic antagonist who was pretty much haphazard and pretty much useless as being a villain there, but had quite a funny conclusion to it. And best of all, guys, it is actually on sale for the next couple of days, so if you do see this video and want an interesting 4 to 5 hour adventure, you know, pick this game up straight away. The Mummy Demastered proves that from crap things, good things do come, because the movie that this is based on was absolutely abysmal, but the game itself is an excellent Metroidvania adventure, and it was a surprise to me. I wasn't really expecting much from it, but fancied a bit of Metroidvania and decided to take a punt on it, and I'm glad I did. It's currently on sale again for the next few days, so definitely if you are interested in this, please take advantage of that while you can there. But it's nice to play a Metroidvania style game that wasn't in a futuristic setting as in like Metroid, or in the like a ye olde setting of Castlevania. This one you play as a nondescript marine guy, because you are a disposable hero, because if you do die, there's a little bit of a Dark Souls element where you have to get back to your corpse, defeat your corpse, and retain all your equipment, which is a nice little twist on the genre. Plays through classic kind of Metroidvania style there, where you have to power up your hero through a series of collectibles, defeat all the mummies, subalterns before the final confrontation ensues, and there is some collectibles as well. But it's a really good 8-hour adventure there, and highly recommended. World to the West was another surprise title. It's set in the same universe as the Technomancer, which is a beautiful 2D scrolling game, but this is kind of a semi-kind of sequel, where you play as 4 characters this time, thrown together as reluctant heroes in a world that needs help and saving from a cataclysm. The main gameplay focuses on using the correct character in the correct location to bypass obstacles, which their special skills allow you to bypass, and collect a number of tablets that are dotted around the world to obviously ultimately save the world and become the heroes these guys don't actually want to be. But the graphics are charming, the music is absolutely amazing, each character is very, very individual and feels that they have been developed correctly, and they feel that they are a part of the team, rather than what you get in some games where one or two characters may be just used for one or two unique circumstances. But this is an excellent sprawling adventure which will easily take you 10 to 20 hours to actually complete there, and it's also available in retail as well. There's a retail copy available if retail collectors want to get hold of this game. But it is an amazing experience, and again, another one I recommend you highly check out. 99 Vidas was another game that came from absolute nowhere. The beat 'em up or side-scrolling brawler genre is a dying breed, and it's my favourite genre of games, and this just came out of nowhere yet again, with 4 excellent playable characters right from the get-go, and a multitude of future ones that can be unlocked by completing the game and, you know, clearing certain criteria. But what made this work was it felt so much like an old school beat 'em up. The moves, the combos, the feel for it, the difficulty level, it just felt like a classic beat 'em up, and the music was truly amazing. I think I mentioned in my review probably the best beat 'em up music I have actually heard since the great Streets of Rage 2 came out. Fantastic side-scrolling brawler, online multiplayer as well, and local multiplayer. Check it out now. Candleman was another game that hit us from nowhere. It was just beautiful game. You play as a candle. How many times can you say that? With a simple task of lighting candles and progressing to the end of the level. 10 candles in a level to find. Purely optional, but if you want the full completion, you do need to get hold of those. But simply progress through A to B using the light mechanic there. You could have a certain boost of light there to light your way and give you a much needed hint. But unfortunately, as you're a candle, every time you use that help, you do burn some of your own life force away until you burn down to a wick and ultimately die. But just an amazing setting. There was, my personal favourite is the first zone, the ship, I think it was there. I think the other two zones in the initial base game don't do a good as job as the original there, but it's still a fantastic experience from A to B. And they've just recently released some free DLC as well, which gives you the game's true ending apparently there. So what more can you ask for? It's a great value title, a great platforming title, one of the most beautiful indie games that have come out this year there. So definitely check out Candleman if you get a chance. Pixel Heroes Bite and Magic came out in February of 2017 and is easily my most played title of the year, with over 100 hours sunk into it. Now, word of warning, this is a very difficult title. It's a very hard game. I mean, just checking now, I was actually still quite surprised only 4 people on True Achievements have completed it, myself being one of them. So you know, it is a very difficult game because permadeath is in this game, and I know a lot of people don't like that, but this is a quick fire game, and an adventure will probably take you between half an hour to an hour, so it's not as if you're losing a lot of progress, but it can be frustrating when you get to the later dungeons and something goes wrong that you wasn't expecting, because it is partly procedurally generated as well. But what makes this game special is the amount of heroes you get to choose from. Once you've managed to unlock them and recruit them through various means, you do have I do have access to over 30 different heroes, and each of them play differently. Some of them have really strong attacks, some of them really have strong range weapons or strong magic weapons, and you have to form your team. You actually recruit them straight from the tavern and go into your adventure. It's not just a simple case of rolling up to the dungeon as well. As you go to the dungeon and come back from dungeons, you do encounter free random encounters as well, which can seriously help you or they can seriously hinder you, and they can actually seriously massacre you as well. So you have to be very careful with these random generated events. And as I say, I played it for over 100 hours, so it's definitely got something about it. Brilliant 8-bit style graphics as well, and the 8-bit music just brought back so many memories there. And this trailer that I'm talking over at the moment and it's completely spoiling, you know, hunt it down on YouTube and listen to it in full. It is just an hilarious trailer, quite tongue-in-cheek, and from the text and dialogue in the game, it really fits the guy's unique style of game making, and I really look forward to what they come up with next. So a great title.
And now for demonstration, I have prepared the newest version of Pixel Heroes.
Mr. Pumpkin Adventure. This is a game where, again, nobody would ever think this is going to be on one of the best games of 2017 list, but I really love this game. It seems, from what I can see, the general consensus is a lot of people bash this game, people who actually use the solution to play the game, and that completely just misses the entire point of a puzzle game, because the joy of it is discovering the puzzles and figuring them out yourself and getting some kind of accomplishment. If you're just following a solution, you're basically just reading a book, really. You're just going through somebody else's experiences and missing out all the fun aspects of it. And Mr. Pumpkin Adventure has a seriously unique look to it. I mean, just look at the graphics on the screen there. It's completely madcap and crazy. But like I say, the strong point of it is the puzzles. Pretty much everything visually on the screen could be a clue, could be a puzzle, could be an answer to what you're trying to solve, and that is what I loved about it. It made you very aware and very conscious of your environment. You had to take a look at everything from graffiti on wall to scraps of paper flying around to an innocuous pigeon landing on something. You know what I mean? Every single thing had to be taken into account and contributed towards figuring out the puzzles and having you progress on to the next scene. There was also multiple endings as well, although the main ending obviously was the best one. The other two were kind of like throwaway, really odd things. But when you have guys with giant strawberries as head, I think we're using the word odd seems a little bit out of place and doesn't have much meaning anymore. But yeah, just a really enjoyable title. And if you do, it is only sadly available in the US marketplace, but if you do get this title, don't follow solution. You know, it defeats the object of the game. Play it yourself, enjoy it, figuring it out the problems, figuring out the puzzles, learn the solutions. If you get stuck, go away, come back, have another go at it. You'll get more out of this title. A really enjoyable one. I love this. The Inner World was going to be my top game of the year, but I had to give it some really hard thought, and it does unfortunately come in at number 3, which is still a fantastic showing, because this is, as I mentioned in my review, in my opinion anyway, one of the best old style point and click adventures for decades. You play as Robert, aka Flute Nose, who goes on a journey of self-discovery. He learns that everything he's been led to believe about the world is a lie, and he gets roped into an adventure there which allows him to discover his true origins and who he actually is. And it's a fantastic story. It's not predictable in any way. It's beautifully drawn. The acting is amazing. The voice work is truly outstanding there. And the pacing of the story, you actually genuinely go on an adventure with these guys through loads of different locations, from the city to the forest to the secret laboratories. And what I like about this game as well, even if you do get stuck, there is a hint system available to you, which does give you various different cryptic clues to what you have to do next. So if you do get stuck, it does cater for everybody. And the great thing about this as well, there is also a sequel to this already out. It came out at the back end of the year. It's called The Last Wind Monk, and it looks to be the same high quality. Not had a chance to play it unfortunately as of yet, but it's an amazing title.
Just try it out yourself. All right. In short, I highly recommend buying this great game. Now, before I do.
Number 2 on the list is A Sexy Brutale, and it's probably the saddest story of the lot, to be honest with you, because from what I know, this didn't do very well at all in terms of sales, which is absolutely criminal, because the innovation in this game, the art direction, whether it be sound, visuals, the script, it's truly amazing. You're in the Sexy Brutale casino and you're being gifted with time winding abilities which help you rewind the day, and people have started getting murdered and you have to stop these murders from happening. But unfortunately, your timelining power comes with a curse where you can't share the room with any other character in the game. You get chased out of it basically, so you have to prevent these murders indirectly by setting up a series of events that will stop the murder from occurring in the first place. And it's just such a clever game because everything's happening all at the same time. You're basically playing the game over a very short span of time in reality, but you get armed with knowledge of previous attempts, from previous failures, and you can use that knowledge to help you prevent a murder in the future. And it just all builds up to a fantastic conclusion, which I didn't personally see coming. And it's just a shame that it didn't do well at all. It just needs to be bought, and I think the name of the game really did it harm. But definitely buy this game. Now, what remains of Edith Finch? Everybody can say, well, after quite an unpredictable list, this is probably the most predictable one, and I'm sorry, but I can't change my opinion on it. Now, what we have is a walking simulator, and you think, what's a walking simulator doing at number one? Well, this is such an amazing experience, and I'm using that word rather than game. It is an experience, and I'm going to be hand on heart honest with you. Up until the start of December, this was actually going to appear on my worst games of 2017 list. Simple reason, I was utterly disgusted the first time I played through this game with one particular scene. Now, there are going to be spoilers ahead here, so please, switch off if you don't want this spoiling you. But basically, the plot of the game is you are Edith Finch returning to your family home, and the family has a curse. Everybody seems to die young. Nobody reaches a grand old age or anything like that, and basically the journey through the Finch household recounts all the family members' unfortunate demises, and one particular one really got to me the first time I played it, and it still does. I still think it's a horrible scene, and I really wish there would be an option to actually remove it from the game, like a choice that you could make, where you're actually playing as an infant in a bathtub, and you actually have to play a section of the game which results in infant drowning in the bathtub, and it's just a horrible section of the game. But I went back and played the game, as I've done with these games for this list, and I think it's a job well done by the developers. Even though I hate that scene with every fibre of my being. I think it's a disgusting scene, but it kind of works in the context of the game, and just hammers home the storyline more than any other scene in the actual game. I mean, some of the other family members have some bizarre, unfortunate deaths and gruesome deaths, and but this one is just the saddest, and probably one of the most saddest thing I've actually seen in video games. And as a gamer or an experience that relies on its narrative to drive things forward, they couldn't have nailed it any more well than they actually did with that scene in particular. The other thing it does also well is actually put you in the shoes of Edith Finch as well, whilst most walking simulators fail to do this and just make you feel as a general bystander to people's passing conversations. Even though she technically doesn't actually speak to anybody during the entire course of the game, her internal monologuing and the narrative of finding out about her family member's death really do put you in her shoes and make you actually feel the character, which really drives home the emotions even more when one of the family members does die through unfortunate circumstances. So there you go, guys. There's my top 10 best games through the nature of me enjoying them the most during the course of 2017. I hope you enjoyed the list, and I hope it made you discover some titles that you may have overlooked previously, and if I can get each and every one of you to play at least one of these games, and I thought I'll thoroughly have done my job and be very, very happy. And I don't expect most of these games to be on most people's top 10 list, but that's why opinions are fantastic. If we didn't have opinions, we'd all be playing Call of Duty and FIFA, which would be a very, very sad world to live in, really, in terms of playing video games. So please remember to like, comment and subscribe, guys, and I will catch you on the next video.